So if you've ever wondered what is the point of healing, the point of holistic health, the point of all of these different modalities, whether they be herbalism or meditation or yoga or qigong or body work, whatever they might be, what is the point and why are we doing them? What are the dynamics of healing and holistic health, and how does it all fit together in a truly holistic, holographic way? In other words, what's the point? Why are we doing this? And what can we expect? In other words, what's the bigger picture and how does this all fit together? So what I'm going to do in this video is share with you a four-part equation of sorts that I've come up with and really been working on and working with for the last maybe year and a half or so. Something I've used to really distill down a lot of disparate and separate information into something which is cohesive and makes sense and is really simple and easy to understand. Because too often health and healing and spirituality and consciousness development or personal development, whatever, is very esoteric and very kind of not really that clear or very muddled or very muddy to be able to see and understand. For example, tonic herbalism or a lot of Taoist or Chinese perspectives say, the point of, say, taking tonic herbs is to develop Shen. If you want to build Jing, you want to build Qi, the point is to build Shen. But that, to 99% of the people, doesn't really make any sense and doesn't really have any meaning. Likewise, you can take up a meditation practice, you can take up a yoga practice, or Qigong or Tai Chi practice, and they might use similar yet likely esoteric terms which don't really have any basis or grounding. So what we're going to do in this video is, again, take some things which are actually going to be useful, tangible, rooted and grounded to be able to see how this all fits together. Now we can actually see ourselves and view ourselves from a truly holistic point of view, meaning to be whole, to be holy, to be one, to not be the mind and the body, or not be the mind and the body connection, or not be the mind and the body spirit connection. No, but realize it's all one and the same process. So again, we're going to take a four-part equation to define and clarify the dynamics of healing and holistic health. So first, we're just going to go through the four parts and get kind of a bigger picture, and then we're going to loop back around and to get into them more deeply. So the first part is called interacting, processing, and integrating. And this, again, is a blanket term to describe all the different modalities that serve to do just that serve to help us interact, to process, and to integrate experiences, to integrate energy, and to integrate information. Which then leads into the second part of the equation, which we can call our karma, or manure, or the work. Which leads us to part C, which is, again, the purpose and the point, which is just to create movement, free flow, and renewal. Which then leads up to, again, the final part, holistic health and healing, or in other words, our level of health and vitality. So we can understand that A plus B plus C equals D, or our level of holistic health and healing. And again, that was just the quick, big picture overview to introduce the concepts. So now we're going to get into these concepts a little bit more deeply so we can understand on a deeper level, on a more clear level, what these concepts mean and how they interrelate. So the first part is, again, strategies that serve to help us interact, process, and integrate information, whether that be energy or nutrition or supplements or herbs or whatever it might be. So these modalities could be herbalism, could be meditation, could be yoga, could be qigong, it could be tai chi, could be bodywork, or a myriad of other holistic modalities that really help us to interact, process, and integrate. The question is, what are they helping us to interact, process, and integrate with? And this is where we get to a bit more of the bigger picture, a bit more of the sort of behind the scenes dynamics of what's really causing a lot of stuff in our life. And this is often where people don't want to go. People will easily take the leap and say, oh, well, I just need vitamin C, or I just need a little bit more Jing, or I just need some Qi, or I read this book and it said I was yin deficient. But they don't want to take a look at these deeper aspects. And the reason why these aspects are important and need to be addressed and identified is because they make us participate. They make us engage and step up and interact with what's actually going on in our life, with the story of our life, with the actual life path that we're on. Because it's really easy to make the jump from pharmaceutical medicine, which says, oh, you have a symptom, take a pill. It's really easy to take that and replace it with, oh, you have a symptom, take an herb, take a vitamin, take a supplement. Now, obviously, I'm a huge proponent of herbs and supplements and vitamins and dietary strategies and all these modalities. I've spent a huge chunk of my life studying, researching, and experimenting with them. So I'm in no way demeaning them or putting them down or undermining their importance, because they're obviously very important. But because we are very complex beings, they're just one piece of the puzzle and one piece of the equation. We shouldn't become fixated on just one piece. We should then obviously build a solid foundation of diet and exercise and nutrition and supplements and herbs, and then ask ourselves, well, what's the point? Well, again, to help us interact, process, and integrate these various components which make up, our karma or the manure or the work, which this could manifest as our genetic hereditary predispositions, could manifest as the old nature versus nurture paradigm, which says, we inherit this or we learn that, when in reality it's both. Obviously we inherit things and obviously we learn things. The whole conversation of debating one or the other is just really childish and immature. We need to realize that it's both, obviously. From there, there's our cultural operating system. The series of cultural programming that we're given, whether we're American Christian, white male, or Middle European, Italian female, Catholic, or Chinese atheist, or Tibetan Buddhist, or whatever it is. We all are born into a certain series of social norms, social programming, and cultural operating system. Also, along with that, we have really something that we're all really susceptible to, which is our emotional, spiritual, and physical traumas. It could be things that happen in childhood, things that happen in young adult, things that happen in our teenage years, or things that happen when we were born that are totally unconscious, but are really causing our behaviors to be altered and shifted in certain ways. So again, these modalities serve to help us interact, process, and integrate these different components that make up who and what we are. So you can see that these very physical things then create movements and create awareness and engagement with the psyche, with the consciousness directly, which then creates movement and free flow and in these other areas, which is really another major piece, another way that this all interacts and comes back together. Because if we have emotional, spiritual, physical traumas, we may have less than ideal cultural programming, we may have some genetic hereditary predispositions that may be predisposing us to one thing or the other, we may have learned some various habits, which then create certain distorted psychological and behavioral patterns, which then manifest in the body as physical tension, whether that be hardness, or armoring, or calcification, or crystallization. Really the bigger picture there is it's really a form of stagnation, blockage, and fixation. So again, just to go back, we have our holistic healing modalities that serve to help us interact, process, and integrate these various components, our genetic hereditary predispositions, our nature versus nurture, our cultural operating system, as well as our emotional, spiritual, and physical traumas that we may have experienced, which then helps us to shift these distorted psychological and behavioral patterns, which of course is also going to change the way the body manifests. Because oftentimes we store emotions in the body. This is nothing new. If you consult any massage therapist, anyone who actually works with the body, whether that's a massage therapist, a chiropractor, or a yoga practitioner, they will all tell you, yeah, this is really obvious. We store emotions in the body. We store emotions in our tissues. And an easier way to understand that is just look at someone's posture and look at how their emotions influence that posture. Someone is very happy and confident, their posture is going to be very open, very relaxed, very laid back. Someone who's had a lot of stress, a lot of tension, anxiety, depression, or other negative emotions, their posture is going to be more closed off and more sort of rounded, or going to have what's called crossed posture syndrome. So again, we have part A, part B, and then part C, which then all adds up to the level of our health and vitality, which in other words we can translate as the quality and quantity of energy circulation in our body. Because we're talking about holistic health, we're talking about seeing the body as a whole and being truly holistic, then obviously we're talking about energy at the fundamental level. And if we're talking about health versus disease, we need to understand that really health is about movement and free flow, and where we have dis-ease or a lack of ease is most oftentimes where we have an area of blockage, stagnation, and fixation. And that's really the fundamental basis of Chinese medicine and pretty much all other systems of holistic health and healing, systems of indigenous and ancient medicinal and healing cultures. So again, just to recap, we have part A, which we can understand as modalities that help us interact, process, and integrate, which obviously leads to B, which is integrate, process, and interact with what? Obviously our karma, our manure, the work, which in turn influences and brings up our various psychological and behavioral patterns, as well as the various instances and places in our body where we store and hold tension. That's a distorted movement pattern, a distorted postural pattern, or just a place where we're really lacking movement and free flow, which all that A plus B plus C equals and adds up to the quality and quantity of energy circulation in the body, or in other words, our level of health and vitality. So again, that's really the dynamics of healing and holistic health, and really an easy image to kind of understand that and take away with it a little bit deeper and a little bit more profoundly is this image here, which I'll leave you with. This is actually an illustration from an upcoming book that I'm working on, but it's really tying into this equation and this process overall, so I thought it would be a great thing to end with, and really a great way to maybe illustrate and clearly show what we're talking about here. So hopefully that's been helpful. Hopefully that's really shed some light and really opened some doors in your mind to see how all these things interrelate and go with each other, and how we really need to start integrating things and realizing that things are interconnected and they're not separate, and that if we're truly interested in holistic health, we need to truly start to understand things from that point of view and from that perspective. So if you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I will talk to you soon.